Greetings and hello. Welcome to another episode of Winemaking 101, the series where I talk you through the fundamental basics of winemaking at home. In today's episode, we're covering how to add more body and vinosity to a wine once you've made it. In my last episode, I tested my Daisy wine and I thought I could enhance the body of the wine. It needed more vinosity, more mouthfeel and body. As with a lot of floral wines, they do tend to lack the body. So, is there a remedy to this? There is indeed. And this is a very simple remedy you can take to improve the quality of your floral wines and any other wine you think needs slightly improving in terms of body. My method of doing this is to add some glycerin. Glycerin has loads of uses in winemaking at home in country wines. It is particularly useful for adding body and vinosity to a wine once you've made it. It is also really good at adding a touch more sweetness to a wine if you think a wine needs slightly sweetening up. And also, because it does not contain any fermentable sugars, you aren't going to start the fermentation process again. Another brilliant aspect of glycerin in wines is it is really good at smoothing out any harsh flavours in a wine. So if you have a young wine that you think has all the flavours ready, but it just needs a wee bit of maturation and you don't have time, you can add a bit of glycerin just to help smooth out those harsh flavours and finish the wine off a bit sooner. It's a cheats method. Personally, I would rather let time do its thing, but it does help if you are in a rush. And if your wine still has a bit of a yeasty aroma or taste to it, so maybe you have used bread yeast in your wine and it does have this yeasty, doughy, fresh yeast aroma and taste on the tongue, glycerin will smooth out that flavour and aroma and mask it, for want of a better word. So this wonderful thing called glycerin, it is so versatile in the brewery. Also, another great benefit of using glycerin in a floral wine such as Daisy or Dandelion is that it preserves the floral notes of the wine. Sometimes with floral wines, they do tend to lose their floral aroma and high notes after about a year in storage. The other flavours develop, but the floral notes get lost amongst the developing flavours. But glycerin will preserve the floral notes. It will enhance them, it will make them more noticeable, and it will preserve them so when you pour your wine in a year or so, it still has those floral notes. I keep on saying and also with glycerin because there are so many factors that make it a wow substance in winemaking. So, and also, if you think your wine is slightly too acidic to the taste buds, the glycerin will dampen the acidity that you can taste. It will hide it and mask it. Glycerin is a natural byproduct of fermentation, so don't feel as though you're adding anything alien to your wine. All wines contain a little bit of glycerin because it is that natural byproduct of the fermentation. It is one of the natural byproducts in the wine. So your wine will already contain a certain amount of glycerin, and all you're doing is adding a little bit more to offset the negatives with the positives that you want. But how much glycerin should you add to your wine? A lot of people overdo the proportions and quantities of glycerin. Remember, you can always add a wee bit more, but you can't take it out after you've added it. The general rule of thumb is you want to be adding 3 to 5 mils per wine bottle. It does depend on the natural sweetness of your wine. So if it's a very sweet wine, you want to add the 3 mil. If you want to increase the sweetness to a dry wine, add 5 mil. But I would always start at the lower level, the 3 mil per bottle first. Then the following day, add another mil. Or And then after that, add another until you get the right flavour and the desired result you want for your wine. 3 to 5 mils per bottle works out to be 18 to 30 mils per 1 gallon. So for my Daisy wine by here, I think it has enough sweetness. I do not want to mask any bready, yeasty aromas. I don't want to mask any strong acidic flavours. All I want to do is increase the body ever so slightly. So I'm going to be adding the lower end of the range, 18 mils. That's what I think my Daisy wine is going to need. I can always add a few more mils later on down the track should I feel the wine needs it. So I'm going to start with my trusty syringe and take out 18 mils. With your glycerin fully measured up, your lower level of the recommended range, 18 to 30 mils per gallon, you want to simply add it to your demijohn. The glycerin does take a while to blend with the wine. Not too long, only a couple of days, 2-3 days maybe. You will see bubbles rising. That is simply the glycerin mixing in with the wine. Perfectly normal. It won't start fermenting. However, you may see a small amount of sediment be thrown from the glycerin in the bottom of your demijohn. But we will deal with that when we come to do the bottling. And I have quite a few tips and tricks when it comes to bottling your wine. So stay tuned for that video, which is up next. I'll see you soon now. Have fun.